Rome, October 1866. The doors of the Vatican close. Servants wait outside. Hours pass. Inside sits a 26-year-old woman alone with Pope Pius IX. She speaks quickly, without pause. Her hands tremble. She drinks only from her own bottle. She believes they are trying to poison her. Later, the Pope reports that she lunged for his cup of chocolate, dipping her fingers into it and licking them, whispering, "I am so hungry, but I dare not eat. They are all trying to poison me." That same day, the Empress of Mexico begins to collapse. Her name, Carlota. One can possess power for a lifetime and still lose everything in a single afternoon. Carlota ruled a country she barely knew. She negotiated with emperors, generals, and revolutionaries. And yet she spent 60 years of her life in isolation. The official story calls her tragic. But what emerged afterward changes the way we see everything. June 1840, Laeken Palace, Belgium. Charlotte is born the fourth child of King Leopold I, in the same room where Queen Victoria was, born 48 years earlier. It is established her father never overcame the loss of his first wife. Princess Charlotte of Wales died in childbirth in 1817. Leopold named his daughter after her. When Charlotte's mother dies, the girl is 10 years old. From then on, Leopold takes her with him to affairs of state. A contemporary later writes, "She was more ambitious than most princes of her generation. She reads diplomatic dispatches, speaks 5 languages, spends holidays in Windsor with Queen Victoria. When she reads Plutarch at 15, she is considered brilliant and difficult. In 1857, at 17, she marries Archduke Maximilian of Austria. He is charming, indecisive, liberal. Maximilian writes about her, "She is very intelligent, which makes me somewhat uneasy." What few notice, in this marriage, she is often the more strategic figure. 1864. Maximilian accepts the Mexican crown. After long hesitation, Carlota presses harder. The context: Napoleon III wants a Catholic empire in the Americas, a counterweight to the United States. On May 21, 1864, the couple lands in Veracruz. The city is liberal and silent. They move into Chapultepec Castle in Mexico City. Maximilian renovates it. Carlota organizes the government. It is established. She leads cabinet meetings, signs decrees, serves repeatedly as regent when Maximilian travels. One observer writes, "The Empress should have been both the man and the woman she prefers, the drum, he the baton." But the project stands on sand. It depends on the French military and is opposed by Republican forces under Benito Juarez. Carlota recognizes this early. 1866, the French withdraw. In August, Carlota travels to Europe to seek support. In Paris, Napoleon III rejects her coldly. 3 meetings, 3 refusals. Eyewitnesses report, after the last meeting, she begins to tremble. In Rome, it escalates. She throws herself to her knees before the Pope, shouts that Napoleon wants to poison her, refuses to leave the building. The Pope has a field bed brought into his apartment. Carlota spends the night in the Vatican, the first woman in history to sleep there. The next day, she kneels by a fountain, scoops water with her hands, drinks greedily. It remains disputed whether real attempts were made to poison her. What stands out? She clearly recognizes what others refuse to see, that her empire is already lost. While Carlota fights in Europe, Maximilian remains in Mexico. Advisors urge him to flee. He stays. February 1867, he withdraws with 10,000 men to Querétaro. 40,000 Republican troops besiege the city. In May, he is betrayed. An officer opens the gate for money. Querétaro falls. Maximilian is captured. A military court sentences him to death. Crowned heads across Europe send telegrams, pleading for mercy. Victor Hugo writes. Giuseppe Garibaldi writes. Benito Juarez refuses. By the time Carlota learns of it, she is already living in isolation. No one has told her. June 1867, Cerro de las Campanas, the Hill of Bells. At 6:40 in the morning, Maximilian stands before the firing squad. Beside him, two of his generals. He speaks in Spanish. "I forgive everyone, and I ask everyone to forgive me. May my blood, which is about to be shed, serve the good of the country." Then he shouts, "Viva Mexico!" The shots are fired. In Europe, Carlota sits in Miramar Castle in Trieste, guarded by security agents. No one tells her. Only 7 months later, when Maximilian's body is brought back to Austria, does she learn the truth. She writes, "I find a sad satisfaction in the honors and the general admiration surrounding his memory, but each tribute in such beautiful articles makes me weep again." Carlota returns to Belgium, first Tervueren, then, after a fire, Boschut Castle near Brussels. There she remains 60 years. It is established she refuses to surrender crown and scepter. Periods of relative clarity alternate with confusion. She collects objects that belong to Maximilian. She drinks only water she draws herself from the tap. What stands out? She outlives everyone else. She witnesses the fall of 5 dynasties: Bonaparte, Braganza, Romanov, Habsburg, Hohenzollern. During the First World War, Boschut Castle is surrounded by German troops, but not occupied. Austria is Germany's ally. She is the sister-in-law of the Austrian emperor. January 1927. Carlota dies of pneumonia, 86 years old. Historians still debate, was she a victim or an actor? Perhaps Carlota was never mad. Perhaps she was simply the first to understand that her empire had never existed.